Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, short sea shipping, that will be the topic for my note here today. Short sea shipping is part of the bloodstream for the European Union. Every day, thousands of ships call our ports. In the Baltic Sea, there are 15,000 different ships operating over a year. Goods are transported, people can move, trade, and thereby wealth is created, and we are developing as a society. As free movement of people and goods are one of the cornerstones in EU, it's essential that we have healthy companies and organizations that enable this. Already in the first paragraph of the EU White Paper on transport, it says, "Transport is fundamental to our economy and society. Mobility is vital for the internal market and for the quality of life of citizens as they enjoy their freedom to travel. Transport enables economic growth and job creation." My company, Stena, is a diversified global family-owned business based in Sweden. Our business areas today include offshore drilling, property, finance, technical and environmental services, and of course, shipping. Stena Line is one of the biggest ferry companies in the world, with a big part of its operation in the Baltic Sea. Innovation, care, and performance are our key values and part of our success. I am very proud that Stena is part of the infrastructure of Europe and that we are contributing to seamless transportation services between many of the member ports and states. Since almost 50 years, we have been operating ferries between important ports in Europe. Today, we operate 23 routes with approximately 30 ferries within EU. We move over 10 million passengers safely over the seas every year and transport 2.5 million lorries and freight units. Our company is part of the practical execution of what is so nicely written in the white paper. We clearly understand that, like any business, shipping has to develop together with society. There are currently 3 strong drivers for the shipping sector that makes us change. Firstly, the oil price. It has increased from $20 to $30 per barrel to exceed $100 per barrel in 10 years. This is an incredible increase in a very short time of the world's largest commodity. The consequence for short sea shipping, which is 100% exposed to the cost increase, is very significant and represents an enormous challenge for us. Secondly, there is a big technical development taking place at the moment, mainly in the field of energy saving and new fuels. And thirdly, new regulations, especially in the field of reducing environmental impact, such as the sulfur directive, with a cost increase between 30 to 40%, clearly changes the game, especially for short sea shipping. The high oil prices has made investments in energy efficiency a paramount activity. Fuel saving is thus on the top of the agenda of every shipping company today. The focus is on technical improvements such as hull form, propeller blades, and other technical issues and operational issues such as slow steaming and improved information on fuel consumption on the bridge, etc. Our studies show that the CO2 emissions from shipping in the North Sea has been reduced with approximately 25% since 2008. I don't have any figures on the Baltic Sea, unfortunately. But it's probably similar, I would say. This has been accomplished by the shipping sector solely by competition and response to customer needs, not by any regulations. For us, it's very clear that knowledge of not only how we fulfill our customer needs, but also how we affect the world around us in doing it, is an essential part of staying in the business for long term. I would like to mention that in Stena, we are since many years running some of the ferries with catalytic converters to minimize the emission of nitrogen to air. We do that because the ports gives us better rates, and that we want to be sure that our customer looks upon us as a sustainable way of transport. When the limits for sulfur was 3.5%, we were running on 0.5 in Scandinavia, because we thought we would benefit in the long run. There was no benefit for us, though, as the new limits for sulfur come in much lower than we expected and can afford. Shipping is the most sustainable means of transport, but we will always try to be better. It is, however, extremely important that the process of greening shipping is kept at a pace so that the economic conditions makes it possible to keep the seaborne infrastructure as intact as possible. The sulfur directive will cause routes to close down and make some industries uncompetitive. I don't think that was the meaning of it, actually. For sure, we don't have all the answers about the future, but we do know how it works today and what it takes to change and improve. The big preference for LNG within EU as the future fuel for shipping is one example where I think that the policymakers has listened more to gas companies than shipping companies. LNG is a very clean fuel, but it's quite expensive to handle, and it's prohibitively expensive to convert existing ships' engines from oil to LNG. That is why we have spent our resources looking at methanol, which is a fuel that is much easier to deal with in terms of transportation and bunkering, and it appears that conversion to methanol-fueled engines are possible at an acceptable cost. No matter what solution we choose to adopt to the new sulfur regulation and other regulations, we will get significant cost increases, and I'm not sure our customers are prepared to pay for it all. The worldwide shipping is using one fuel and one fuel only today, and that is oil. This will not be the case in the future. I believe we will see different solutions for different parts of the world and different types of ships. The development will start with short sea shipping, where it's easier to set up new infrastructure for new solutions, but we need well-guided support to see that happen. Shipping is a global business, and we should refrain from having local or regional rules. That also goes for the Baltic. With close dialogue between ship owners and regulators, such as the International Maritime Organization or the EU, a balanced progress to an even more efficient shipping sector will be possible. In case of regional legislation or rules, it should apply to all EU and not special areas. Otherwise, competition will not be neutral for affected industries. Stimulation for newer and better technologies is preferable over regulations. And we can see a good example of that. For example, the lower fairway dues that we have in Sweden, I think, for ships with catalytic converters. I would like to conclude with underlying the importance of EU to have a well-functioning seaborne infrastructure. To get that, we need companies that live under conditions that are economically viable. Any new legislation with negative economic impact should take that into account. So, my message in short, we understand that 15,000 ships in the Baltic puts a strain on the environment. We are doing many things to reduce that. A very careful balance between the environment and economic effect and technical possibilities has to be evaluated for any new legislation. LNG is clean but expensive. Methanol is clean but cheaper. It's good to support those who want to move ahead of the crowd. There is a challenge, but together we intend and can create a stronger and more sustainable Baltic region with good communications and good infrastructure. Thank you.